Good people, how are you? I hope you're doing fine. This good morning. It's actually very early in the morning here in East Africa. I hope wherever you're watching me from, you're having a good time. And for those who may be in the Gulf, I really empathize with your situation, and especially for those African Americans. I mean, African people of African descent. Everybody who is black. I know sometimes it's kind of tough. Some people may say it's fair, there's no racism and all those things, but reality is life is never easy for a black person, and especially at a time like this where there are conflicts globally. Now, today's topic I was actually thinking about investment for black people and majority of the black YouTubers that I have seen. There's this particular lady, I believe she's from Nigeria. She's called Chidi Ashley. Now, Chidi Ashley is a lady I had started watching quite some time back, maybe 3 or 4 years ago. There's a time she was building a very nice. She had a very nice investment. She actually built a villa in Bali. Now, for those of you who have been on the YouTube space for quite some time, you understand that Bali is one of the heavy, is one of the large tourist destinations in the world. Chidi Ashley, black woman, a very young lady. She's actually less than 30 years if I'm not wrong, but you can go and check that on here online. She actually built a villa in Bali. Now, right now, I was watching a video of hers where she has bought land in Tanzania. There's a place called not Tanganyika. There's a place called a very good destination for tourists in Tanzania. Why should I be forgetting that name? Oh my God. Why should I be forgetting that name? Zanzibar. So she bought land in Zanzibar, and 6 months ago she was investing in Morocco. She's also set her business in Dubai. Now, this tells me one thing. When I think about other YouTubers, and especially the ones we like discussing about, we are talking about the likes of Ayamara and Tim Wango. The moment I started watching her, something came in my mind, and then I started thinking about Ayamara. Ayamara recently, he is also investing in the house business. Is it a bad idea? I don't think it's a bad idea, but at the same time, it's not economically feasible. He went to one of the largest, actually the largest stables here in Kenya. It's based in Nairobi. It's called Malo Stables. Now, in Malo Stables, he was lucky because he met the owner of that stables by the name Angie. Now, one of the questions Ayamara asked that lady is it wise for Ayamara to start a business, a breeding business for the horses? And that woman advised him that's a silly, actually she said that is a silly idea to have stables, or rather to have horses, to breed horses as a business. It's never economically feasible. Then Ayamara was forced to ask, then why would you have horses? And then she was like, it's something you're passionate about. You can keep horses because you love them. That's not the case though. You cannot say you're investing in a business and you're not thinking about making profit, because for that woman, she has other business ventures. There are other different ways by which she is able to make money, establish other businesses, have those teaching lessons for horse riding, and because all her horses are trained. Then when you come and compare to somebody like Ayamaro, you kind of feel this is a guy who has a lot of potential um, uh, to make it big in the business world. He's a YouTuber, he's making a lot of money on the YouTube, but is that sustainable in the long run? I do not think that it's going to be sustainable for him to make money on YouTube in the long run, because initially he used to be a travel commando. Lately, he has not been traveling. He has stayed in the village trying to make things work out here and there. Have they been working out? No. For the large part, no. And the reason I'm saying no is because a lot of that information is the one that he gives us. So when you think about the business strategies that Ayamarwa has engaged himself into with the horses, I don't think that's where his focus could have been. In any case, I think it would have been wise for him to venture into the tourism business. I wish he bought more vans for his business and then he established a travel agency. Now, with that travel agency, he would be using it to travel himself. The more he has tourists, the more he shows tourists different destinations, the more he liaises with multinationals, these big hotels. He would have clients from all over the world. Basically, that's a travel agency that will not only be limited to Kenya. It's a travel agency that would have traversed through other regions and helped him to even connect clients from other parts of the world to other destinations. Those clients may book through him from, let's say, for instance, from Jamaica to a place like Dubai through him as as an agency. But that would require somebody who is well organized, somebody who has liaised with other organizations to make it. Well, for the horses, yes, he may have a business partner by the name Ben, which is okay. There's no problem with that. The problem is he went to Malo Stables in Nairobi, met the owner. The owner has massive experience with the horses. She understands the horses in and out. She has lived with the horses for the longest time. She has over 30 years experience with those horses. So any information she's dishing out to you, take it and take it wisely. I would have advised Ayamara, instead of doing horses rather, listen to these people, think about something else you can do. Even if you were to go with the horses, you can limit the number of horses you have. First of all, you do not have enough land for the number of horses you want to have. Wouldn't it have been wiser to rethink that business strategy? And this, as much as I may not be a very big fan of the Marwas, this comes from a good point where you look at this guy as an African. You do not want to see him fail. He's also a human being, He makes mistakes here and there, but at the same time, you don't also want him to fail. I look at Chidi Ashley. I look at the business ideas she has. I look at the kind of investments she's making. And man, that woman, you look at her and you look at the moves she's making. She's married, but her marriage is not limiting her from achieving. And that counts. And that takes me to Dim Wango. Right now, Dim Wango was making videos limited to one place. And those videos were not even having those views that you would have expected them to have. But after, the viewers complained and actually they said your content is kind of becoming boring, which is factual. It's only that majority of her viewers love lying to her. They love telling her the lies. They don't want to tell her the truth that her content to some level is actually limiting her ability to become big and bigger, because she was limited to one place, to one type of content, the way Rocio is doing. Now Rocio is not traveling. Eventually, the views are going to drop. Don't listen to the people at the comment section. You'll always have people who are die-hard fans who will always watch your content whether you like it or not. Whether it's boring or it's not boring, they just love you. They don't care about your content. Then there's a difference. There's a difference between people loving you because of the content you make, and there are people who just love you. They can watch anything you post as long as it's you who is posting. Now that's the difference, because it can end up messing you up because they're not helping you to become better. And then there are people who are like, if this content is boring, I'm not here to watch boring content. I'm here to learn. I'm here to be entertained. I'm here to get educated. Depending. Then, as soon as they find your content being boring, they move out. So, what would I advise somebody like D? While you're still in Poland, use the experience you have. You have been doing vlogs for a long period of time, and by this I mean you have had 6 years experience in doing vlogs. So the best thing I think you should think about is you can still continue doing vlogs, but then you have to diversify and think about the kind of content you're gonna have to do. Like today, you are using that bike that you bought. Initially, I thought you and the company had an agreement, and so probably you are earning money through that sponsorship. I don't know. I'm just giving my thoughts about that. But if you could identify brands, and especially you being a black woman in Poland, we don't know about the race issue in that country as much as Caucasians being Caucasians, it's expected. But we've also had individuals, black folks, historically, who have traversed, who have changed the course of history. Could be it's your time, Team Wango, to change that. I may not be a fan of you either, but again, I would love you to prove me wrong. D. Your goal should not be fighting reactors. You shouldn't even be doing things because of them. But you can do things for yourself, and as you're doing those things for yourself, you prove everybody wrong. And they'll be like, wow, we were wrong, she was right. Because at the end of the day, I understand majority of these people, as much as they're making their content is basically to make money. They entertain, they cause chaos, drama. It's well, I've seen a lot of content with very provocative titles and with very provocative thumbnails, and at the end of the day, that kind of content I've seen that it's really fetching a lot of money, a lot of views, and views translates to money. And I've said it and I'll say it again. When it comes to YouTube, it's views equals to money. Engagement is good because it drives traffic on your channel. So most basically, the algorithm is going to recommend your channel to other people. So, and people can watch a lot of your content through those recommendations. Nonetheless, that is not going to happen if you're only limited to a very small type of content, because somebody as big as Dimwango is supposed to be making at least 50k views per video. Now she's not averaging to that, and that's why I've said it in other videos. The only person who is thinking outside the box is their brother David Jr. Their brother David Jr., first of all, he does not need to buy food. Why? The mother, first of all, is the last born. The mother and the father are catering for that. They are very luckily, David Jr. has very hardworking parents. 2, David Jr. is not even paying rent. He doesn't have to. He has a good home. He does not need to pay rent. Now, where does he make his content? Within the village. He has a motorbike. That would be very cheap. That's why it's very easy for somebody like David Jr. to buy the Mercedes-Benz and to continue doing his construction, because he has organized himself. He has really strategized his content in a way that it makes it very easy for him to make 4 videos per day. Now the 50k that one video of Dimwango is struggling to have, David Jr. is easily making 50k views per day, because one video averages at 13k views. one video. It averages at 13k views. So now multiply 13k views by 4, and you realize that this guy is making probably 50k views per day. Now with 50k views per day, and each video has AdSense, and this is a family that has very loyal fans. Now with loyal fans, what I mean is there are people who are willing to watch their content. It doesn't matter whether it's boring or it's not boring. There are people who are willing to go there and watch the content because they feel they are affiliated with that family. They love the family. They don't care about the kind of content. They don't care whether the content entertains or it doesn't. They watch because they're watching David Jr. They watch because they are watching Jimwango. They watch because they're watching Ayamaru. So at the end of the day, David Jr. is likely to make more money. Actually, I believe for a fact that David Jr. is making more money than Ayamaru and Jimwango. Yet, he has the least number of subscribers. He has the least number of views per video. But when you check that mathematics, this is a guy who you kind of feel he's done statistics. You kind of feel he has specialized on this YouTube. If I were to be taught about YouTube, I would rather go to David Jr. than anybody else. David Jr. might give me a better class on how to do YouTube than anybody else because this guy he found a niche where he doesn't have to struggle. Well, in the world of other reactors, because they're positive and negative, they will say he's using the villagers, and of course it's true, that's a fact. He's using villagers. It's not a fight, it's factual. And I said facts are very stubborn. You might like the guy, but as much as you like the guy, those are facts. You cannot change from the facts. Nonetheless, if we were to limit our conversation and to focus on what we are talking about, David Jr. has already identified something he can do. Now, to generate more views, let's think about investment. Take David Jr., take Dimwango, take Ayamaru. So Ayamaru is investing in horses. David Jr. is investing in building apartments, rental apartments. Who is seeing the bigger picture here? Who is likely to get returns in his lifetime? David Jr. is only 23, 24 years old. Ayamaru is 36 years old, 35, 36 years old. See the difference. We are talking about a difference of about 11 years old. So, David Jr. has started by investing. And he's investing big because when you're talking about rental apartments, and how many floors? So far there are 4. He's doing 5 floors. So, and he's building them in Nyabohanse, the town. So obviously there'll be a high demand for those apartments by the time he has completed building them. There's a possibility before, in the next 20 years, he will have gained the amount of money he invested in building those apartments, and now he will be feeding on the profit. And that's a property that can be inherited by his kids if he's going to have kids. Now, when you talk about horses, so far 3 horses have died. The cost of one horse, listen to me very carefully. The cost of one horse is equivalent to building, the cost of the 3 horses that have died, the treatment, since there was importing all those, is equivalent to building 1 floor of an apartment. The cost of 3 horses, get me again, the costs incurred in the 3 horses that have died is equivalent in building 1 floor. So you can imagine Compare David Jr. to Ayamarwa. If you ask people, they will tell you Ayamarwa is far much ahead of David Jr. I don't see it that way. David Jr. is only 23 years old. Forget about the shenanigans that happens within the village. We are talking economics here and investment. And that's why I started by quoting Chidi Ashley. Because Chidi Ashley is also a very young, beautiful African queen who is making it big. Now and she's a YouTuber. That's why I'm coming to YouTubers here and trying to analyze who is making better business strategies. And I'm taking this one family because it's one of the most, it's one family that has been at the forefront of every discussion within the YouTube space. So even if David Jr. is buying these exotic cars that he rarely uses, and actually he doesn't have to use them. These exotic cars, he only needs to use them when, he's having fun. Again, he's only 23 years old. There's going to come a time where he's going to need to use them, especially when he decides, what, I'm going to have to change my niche and start traveling within the country. But for this year, once he's done with the Dancing Grandma's house, he's going to another project. Remember, him and Matinde and that family, they're already having an upcoming project. So within that project, he's going to milk content like nobody's business. And as he milks content, and he has a guaranteed viewership of 13K views per video average. By the time we are saying it's end of year, he's already done building the rental houses. On the other end, Ayamarwa is struggling to negotiate for land and fields. He doesn't have enough employees. David Jr., he has given that rental a contractor, so he doesn't care. All he has to do is go, check for the quality assurance, make sure that everything is done according to the drawing and according to the details of the structural design. That's the only thing he has to do. And rarely does David Jr. show his viewers about the construction progress of his rentals. So if you think about it in terms of business, forget about hating and loving and all those shenanigans that we argue here online. That's nonsense. Forget about that. Let's talk real things. If we are talking real things, you realize that David Jr. has it figured out. He's only 23 years old. Probably somebody might have told him, hey bro, you're young. Again, he doesn't have to. David Jr. does not need to support his mom. David Jr. does not need to support his father. In any case, one thing I understand is that his father does not want any kind of support. All his father wants is to see his children's progress. That's all he wants. Congrats Mom is doing content, which means Congrats Mom is making her own money. Again, she's a retired teacher, which means she is pensionable. So at the end of the month, that's a mom who is able to collect money. That area has no electricity, so they are kind of living off-grid. So they are not paying some bills. In Kenya, you own that land. You've built on your land, so you're not paying rent. You're not paying land rents. So the only thing, she's a farmer too. Majority of the food she's collecting from the farm, she will come and cook. So as much as she needs money, she doesn't need a lot of money. She's a retired teacher. Again, the husband is alive and is working hard. So David Jr., all the money he collects are for investing in himself. David Jr. does not have a wife. He does not have a child. The siblings are making it because the siblings are Dimwango and Ayamaru. They are making it. So nobody's bothering him financially. So this guy, all he needs to do, go make content, make money, continue building my house. And mark you, he's also buying land. As much as he bought the Mercedes-Benz, and he also has another exotic car. Exotic in Africa. This is a guy who is making better business moves compared to the sister and the brother. And considering that he's a very young bloke, in future, should David Jr. continue making those business moves, in future, in the next 10 years, you might see him even making a bigger move, probably with other investors. Maybe not with horses, because when I look at somebody like Chidi Ashley, maybe that's the time David Jr. now will start traveling. He might even have his own hotels within the country, because one of the biggest moves I think he needs to do, apart from purchasing land in his area, if I were him, I would purchase land in that area, but my end goal is to resell that land in future, because the land prices in that area, like the way people do, what do we call this business? Whereby you buy land and then you sell um, real estate. He could do real estate pretty smart. It would be unfortunate if he starts doing businesses for the sake of flexing, or he starts misquandering the money he's getting. Because a lot of men sometimes they end up wasting money through gambling, like Floyd Mayweather. I hear he's now broke. Like he blew all the money he had by doing a lot of gambling and all that things. Nonetheless, in future, David Jr. might make even better moves and surpass the brother and the sister by far. And I already see that he's doing that, because he has limited his fun and all those things. He doesn't want to travel right now, so that by the time he's traveling, he will have enough money. He will be depending on the investments he has already done to finance his fantasies and everything he wants. Again, while he's traveling, he will also be making content. Travel content, depending on who you are, may not give you a lot of money. And I'm saying this because there's a guy I was listening to. He's African American. He stayed here in Kenya for quite some time. He's called Holman. And he said, if you're thinking about traveling as a niche, then you might end up wasting a lot of money, because that's a niche that does not really appreciate a lot. You can travel as passion, you can go and have fun and enjoy traveling, but do not think that you're going to get money from YouTube courtesy of traveling, because there's a lot involved. Behind the scenes, there's a lot of money that you're going to use. The people who make a lot of money on the YouTube space are especially those who are doing topics on current issues. Like now, there's a war between Iran, Israel, and the United States. Now, majority, that's content that's eating on the YouTube. Now, people who are reacting to that are really getting a lot of money. You remember when we had the Epstein files? People reacting to that are getting a lot of money. People reacting to football. Football happens all the time, almost every day. They get a lot of money. News, breaking news, trending stories. That kind of content really gives you a lot of money. Now, reactors too, they're getting a lot of money. Now, imagine somebody reacting to the celebrities like, Kim Kardashians and all those things. They get, and it's business. Because YouTube is not just YouTube. I may have 379 subscribers, but when time's right, when things start working out one day, I might consider, diversifying my content and make this probably a news outlet, one or the other, who knows. It's also a business move. Honestly, I should think about that. Anyway, back to where we were. Chidi Ashley, or rather D Mwango, might need to look at other female influencers within Africa, or black female influencers. and see how they are making moves. And one thing I love about Chidi Ashley, she's actually married to a Tanzanian. She's married to a Tanzanian. But just because she's married to a Tanzanian did not limit her ability to invest. Marriage did not affect how she invests. It did not change. She just got married. And marriage to her was just another thing in her life. It did not eliminate her vision and ambitions. In the other case, there's nothing wrong with the Mongo's marriage, but there's also some things the viewers may have noted. Like, you know, she has kind of slowed down. She's not where you would have expected her to be, especially when it comes to content. This is a woman whose YouTube was the main business. And when you have a main business, you do not joke around with that business. You try to look for ways by which you can grow that business. And I think this is a point where those people who react to Dimwango, I understand they do it to get views, and I understand sometimes those who are called negative reactors, they do it for the sake of views and entertainment. But it's the people who advise D that I have a problem with. I will react to the people who advise D Mwango, because those are the people who are misleading her. Marriage is a good thing, but just because you're married does not mean that you're going to be confined within that small box. Now you have to start doing content about being a wife material and all those things, cooking and blah blah blah, cutting firewood and all those things. At least the kind of content she made was good. The one she made where she was riding the bike and going to the village, meeting the villagers, and trying to evaluate how they react to a black woman. Nonetheless, majority of the people she met are the elderly. These guys were just speaking Polish. They didn't care if whether she understands Polish or not. And again, that's the other challenge she's going to have. Because language barrier. Her audience understands English. She's in Poland. These people, they don't understand English. They only speak Polish. Now, I don't even know whether Polish is a language or not. I'm just speaking. But they do not understand English. And when you have this kind of audience, at some point, the only good thing you have, D, is that your audience love you. They don't care about the type of content. Some, I believe, they'll just click on your video, let it play, let the ads play. They have internet. They are there for you. They want to be there for you throughout. So some of them, I believe, they'll just click your video, let the ads play, let the video play, as long as they support you. That's how loyal they are to you. Nonetheless, you don't want that kind of audience. You want people who you can engage with, people who can tell you the truth, and those are the people you guys are hating. People you can engage with, people who can tell you the truth, and they help you to shape your content moving forward. Because right now, traveling is not easy. You're not going to become a traveler like you want to be. It's going to ask, it demands money. And as it demands money, you have a project at home. You have a villa. You have your retirement villa that you want to build. Well, with that villa, at least it can delay for the next 5 years. You do not need to rush with it. All you need to do is make sure by the end of this year, at least the skeleton is complete. The skeleton of that villa is complete. And do you understand? You as a woman, you're really, really encouraged. You are really encouraging other young girls who are dreaming to even dream bigger. Do you know how magnificent it would have been if you had completed that villa, probably by next year? I mean, the exterior, now doing the interior. Do you know how you would have inspired? Do you know how your story would have been received within the local news, probably in Africa? Because the people would have come to you as a woman. But now, do you see what you've done? There's nothing wrong with marriage, but people are looking at your content and realizing, wait, is this the way? And they're kind of, no. And all is not lost, and I'm not wishing you bad luck. So far, you've done a lot of good things for yourself. And I hope you're going to make a turnaround. Not in your marriage. I'm not saying you divorce. If you entered into that marriage out of love, well, if you two are compatible, and you share the same vision, ambitions about marriage, about life goals, and if your principles and standards kinda intermingle, good for you. But make sure that that marriage is not going to derail your progress in other aspects of life. That marriage should complement who you are. That marriage should add into you, not take away from you. Because we as Africans, and you might look at us and undermine us and kind of think like we're not making any sense. But in reality, we are. Because we don't wish you bad. We want the best for you. We also don't want you to be treated like a second-class citizen. We want you to be respected. You've done things, great things, big things for yourself. You've conquered some things that people might never conquer. Do you know how many people would love to be in your situation right now? And especially everywhere globally. Do you know how many people would love to have those number of subscribers, to have those number of views? That's the very thing you're peeing on. You know, you've touched some money, yes? You've really touched some good. You've tasted the power of money. You have tasted the power of money. And that's the thing you want to put to waste. You have about 478, for almost 490, let me say close to 500k subscribers. And at least, right now, you're averaging at 25-30k views per day. And that's the same thing you want to lose. Do not allow that relationship to derail you. Take every advice you get from people. Take heed of every advice you get from anybody who is wishing you the best. Use it and invest wisely. Invest wisely. Be like your brother. I'm not even going to tell you to be like Chidi Ashley, because Chidi Ashley is on a different level. You have more subscribers than her, but Chidi Ashley is not on your level. Chidi Ashley is way above. By far. That's what I'm gonna tell you. But I'm not saying that you can't be even way higher than her. You can. This world, anything is possible. Anything is possible. But look at yourself. Think about the things you used to dream about. Don't allow anything to limit you moving forward. This is the same advice I would give Ayamaro. You guys, you need to sit down and rethink all the strategies you're making moving forward. What if YouTube? What if we wake up one day and YouTube is no longer there? Do you think there's life in Poland for you? What if we wake up one day and this thing we want to make money from, this thing we're striving to make work, is not there anymore? Where do we move on? Sister D, Brother Maro, you guys think about the business strategies. And I would highly recommend that you follow your young brother. Your young brother looks wiser, looks smarter, looks logical than you guys, yet you're older than him. Otherwise, I wish you the best. If you've come across this content and you kind of feel you wanna promote me, you wanna support me by subscribing, at least I only need 121 for me to be at 500, and I'll be glad to hit that mark before end of March. Thanks guys for your time. See you in the next one, please.